Good afternoon. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Community Development Committee and Regulatory Services Committee for today, April 19th. We've been joined by Council Members Cano and Quincy, and we are awaiting quorum. As soon as we've been joined by Council Member Reich, which is a quorum of the committee. I will note that we have a very long public hearing agenda, so I'd like to start with the consent agenda, which are items number 14 through 21. They include the loan modification at the Cecil Newman Apartments, title clearance for the Upper Harbor Terminal, the final resolution of a bond issuance at Plymouth Stevens House, debt modification for the Housing Opportunity Partnership Preservation Project, the Great Streets grant applications, the priorities report for our HOPWA funding, and a contract with SMG for traffic control services, in addition to the regular licensing and consumer services agenda for today. Are there any items anyone would like to pull off the agenda, items 14 through 21? Seeing none, I'll move the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those items are approved. We'll then start our 13 public hearings, starting with item number 1, which is a land sale. Ms. Kimball, welcome.
Chair Goodman, members of the committee, I'm going to give a brief introduction that's going to apply for items 1 through 7. When staff receive proposals through the Vacant Housing Recycling Program, they are evaluated against criteria stated in the Vacant Housing Recycling Program Manual, which was subject to neighborhood review and comment and approved by the Minneapolis City Council in December 2015. When multiple offers are received for a property, staff evaluate the purchaser's or general contractor's experience, the plan for occupancy, the extent and cost reasonableness of rehabilitation or new construction, financial capacity, and subsidy need, if any, from City of Minneapolis programs. Neighborhood organizations are notified of all of the offers received and provided with an opportunity to provide comment for a 45-day period that ends shortly before the public hearing. In some cases, the purchaser that's supported by the neighborhood in the items that I'm going to present today is different than the purchaser that's recommended by staff. And when that's the case, I'm going to present what the neighborhood comments were and why they supported a different application, and then what the staff comments were and why, when we reviewed the criteria, we supported a different application.
Okay. Was that for our benefit or for the benefit of the viewing public in droves, or what was that?
It's for the benefit of the committee and then also for the public.
Okay.
So 701 Newton Avenue North, the staff recommendation is sale to Auspicious Living LLP, who met the requirements of the Vacant Housing Recycling Program. We received comments from the Near North neighborhood, and they are supportive of the staff recommendation. I'll take any questions on this property at this time.
Okay, so you're not going to go through any of the details. This is a new process we're going to go through right now. I think it's a public hearing on a land sale. I think it needs some explanation.
Okay.
Beyond the neighborhood likes it or doesn't, and the staff likes it or doesn't.
Well, absolutely. So in the case of 701 Newton Avenue North, there was only one offer that was received. When staff looked at each of the criteria that I just outlined for the Vacant Housing Recycling Program, the single applicant met all of the criteria. If there are further questions, I can respond.
Are there further questions from staff on item number 1? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 1, which is a land sale at 701 Newton Avenue North to Auspicious Living LLP. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of item number 1 with the staff recommendation.
Item number 1 has been moved for approval. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll move on to item number 2.
Item number 2 is 916 Newton Avenue North. The staff recommendation is sale to DBH Homes LLC, who met the requirements of the Vacant Housing Recycling Program. We received comments from the Near North neighborhood, and they support the application of the one other offer that we received, which was from Elizabeth Sibbett. Her intention was to owner-occupy the property. Elizabeth Sibbett submitted a total of 4 applications for properties that had open houses in North in March. Her application for 916 Newton Avenue North was the only application for owner occupancy. All 4 of Ms. Sibbett's applications were disqualified by staff because her scope of work was insufficient to meet the rehabilitation standards of the vacant housing recycling program. We notified Ms. Sibbett that of the reason for her disqualification and encouraged her application for future properties through the program. I'll take any questions at this time.
Seeing no questions, we'll open the public hearing on item number 2, which is a land sale at 916 Newton Avenue North to DBH Homes, LLC. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of item number 2.
Item number 2 has been moved for approval. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. On item number 3.
1419 Upton Avenue North, staff recommendation is sale to Pamela D. Taylor Berry, who met the requirements of the vacant housing recycling program, and sale to Jenny Investments LLC as an alternate purchaser if Ms. Taylor Berry does not close on the property. We received comments from the Willard Hay neighborhood, and they support the staff recommendation of sale to Ms. Taylor Berry. I'll take any questions at this time.
Are there any questions on item number 3 for staff? Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the alternate purchaser, this is the one that has an alternate purchaser. The previous 2 did not. Is it for the same price?
Yes, it is.
So there's no difference between those 2?
Correct.
Why was Pamela Taylor Berry selected over any investments?
Pamela Taylor Berry was selected because of her intent to owner-occupy the property. In the case of Jenny Investments LLC, the intention is to rehab the property and then sell it for owner occupancy. And the vacant housing recycling program has a criteria where we try to prefer purchasers that intend to owner occupy the property as their primary residence.
Thank you.
So perhaps in the reports, you could give us more information.
Okay.
I'm struggling with the lack of when we purchased it, how long we've owned it, what the detail that would have been provided otherwise in every other report we've seen for the past 10 years.
Okay.
So I need to have, in the interest of transparency, I think the public needs to know, is it a house? It is a vacant lot? How long have we owned it? I would give the financial information if it were me, but I understand you don't want to do that. I think this question could have been answered simply by, you could have put that in your report. We received 2 offers. One person said they'd occupy it, etc. So
Okay.
then there won't be any
in my
questions.
verbal report,
Yes.
you mean? Okay.
It's a land sale. It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Other questions on item number 3? Seeing none, thank you for that report. We'll open up the public hearing on item number 3, which is a land sale at 1419 Upton Avenue North. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of item number 3 on the staff recommendation.
Further questions and comments on item number 3? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. On to item number 4.
Staff recommendation is sale to Ryan McMonigal. Ryan is actually present in the audience today. Ryan met the requirements of the vacant housing recycling program, and our further recommendation is sale to Asha McGlory as an alternate purchaser if Mr. McMonigal fails to close on the property. We received comments from the Willard Hay neighborhood who would prefer sale to Asha McGlory because she is from the city of Minneapolis. However, that's not criteria that's present in the vacant housing recycling program manual, and so that wasn't part of what the staff could consider when we were making our recommendation. Both applicants intend to owner occupy and had similar estimates for rehabilitation. Mr. McMonigal's application was stronger than Ms. McGlory's, and the criteria for financial capacity, experience, and extent of rehabilitation, which is why he is recommended by staff. I'll take any questions at this time.
Are there any questions for staff on item number 4? Seeing none, thank you for your report. I understand Mr. McMonigal is here. Maybe he would like to speak. I'll open the public hearing on item number 4, which is a land sale at 1426 Penn Avenue North. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Is Mr. McMonigal here? Why don't you come up and tell us, how long are you going to live here for? What's your plan? Where do you live now?
Yeah, currently I live in Eden Prairie. I've lived in St. Paul for the last 4 years, and then just moved back home in with the parents and looking to get closer to Minneapolis because I work downtown and really want to be a part of the community. Noticed prices were just pretty high, even just for rent or purchase. I really want something that I can purchase and really pour into the community with that. And so when I came across the vacant housing recycling program, I just thought it would be a great opportunity too. And so it's really a great location, and I'm excited to, invest in the property, fix it up, and live there for the foreseeable future.
Great. Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Ms. Kimball, what is the requirement with regard to ownership? Is there a length of time?
No, there is not a length of time that's required.
So he could live there for 2 months?
Technically, yes.
Okay. Councilmember Frye.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What is some of the criteria that you look at in determining financial capacity?
We look at the overall cost of not only acquisition of the property, but also the cost of construction and estimates for soft costs. Our construction managers review construction costs against their initial inspection of the property to determine whether both the estimates for construction and also what's included in the scope is reasonable to meet the vacant housing recycling program's minimum property rehabilitation standards. And then we look at the documentation of financing that's provided by applicants. It can be anything from cash statements, bank statements that show the amount of cash that they have that's dated within 30 days. It can include credit statements of financing, and it can also include pre-approval letters from banks.
And so what were the differences between Mr. McConigal's application and Ms. McGlory's?
Yep. In the case of Mr. McMonigal, he submitted a pre-approval letter showing that he had $210,000 of financing, which is enough to pay for his total development cost of $201,370. Ms. McGlory's application included a pre-approval letter for $180,000, which was less than her total development cost of $250,000. She also submitted a pre-approval letter for $70,000 from the City of Lakes Community Land Trust. However, we couldn't consider that additional letter because City of Lakes Community Land Trust has indicated that their financing can't work in partnership with an FHA 203K loan or within our program. We are committed in the event that Ryan McMonigal does not close on the property, then we are committed to working with Ms. McGlory in order to try to mitigate the concerns with her financing.
So I don't doubt that Mr. McMonigal is in an excellent position to close on the property and undergo the rehabilitation. But given that Ms. McGlory has $185,000, I mean, that's not chump change. I mean, that's quite a bit of money that she could probably put towards the initial purchase and then get additional monies to undergo the improvements necessary.
Yep, that's definitely true. And in the case of this property, if we wouldn't have had two competing proposals, then it's likely that we would have recommended Asha McGlory. However, in this case, we had two proposals that we received for this property, and Mr. McMonigal had a much clearer application, and it was much clearer how he was going to pay for his total proposed development costs.
Is one of the items that you look at in determining who to sell to, building wealth in communities of color?
That is not a criteria as of right now.
Okay.
Okay. My concern is more what's the guarantee that this nice young man's going to live there for any extended period of time? We don't know him.
Right. In the case of.
Sorry, we don't know you.
Right.
Do you want to make some guarantee to staff you'll live there for 5 years?
What kind of guarantee?
I don't know, offline, not in this committee meeting? Maybe you can work that out. My concern is that we sell the house to this young man who works downtown, and it's great, and we should do it. But we should have some sort of guarantee if we choose him over someone who already lives in the city, that he's going to live in the city. We like that. We want people to move home from college and not live with their parents and move to the north side and work downtown. It's all good if that's what happens. So can you work that out with him?
We have discussed that historically. The reason that there isn't a provision within our program manual for providing that type of guarantee is that our advisement from our legal counsel is that the primary way that we could provide a guarantee like that is if we provide financing. We are selling all of these properties for their appraised value with no financing from the city. And so our options for providing a guarantee for occupancy are limited.
Councilmember Fry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to move forward with that recommendation. Hopefully, we can work something out with Mr. McMonagle, but in the next week and a half before the full council meeting.
Okay. I think we closed the public hearing, but now I can't even remember. So we're good on that. Okay, great. On Councilmember Fry's motion to move without recommendation so that the applicant and staff can work together to feel more comfortable that he's going to live there for a period of time, which is the purpose of moving it forward without recommendation. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll move on to item number 5, which is a land sale at 1715 Oliver Avenue North.
All right. Staff recommendation is sale to DBH Homes LLC. Darren Hebert from DBH Homes is here. I apologize for not mentioning that for the 916 Newton Avenue North public hearing. Darren met the requirements of the vacant housing recycling program. We received comments from the Willard Hay neighborhood, and they support the staff recommendation of sale to DBH Homes Inc. LLC. Pardon me.
Okay. So this is a perfect example of where we could get an explanation of what they're going to do with the house, how they're going to, I mean, in the past, we would hear we bought it in this year, we're selling it now, we've held it for this period of time, here's what they're going to do here. But I don't have any information other than what's in this report, which involves yet another sale in the Fifth Ward that we're very conscious of. Mm-hmm. So is this is a, what else can you tell me?
Absolutely. Mr. Darren's intention is to rehabilitate this property and sell it for owner occupancy. The property was originally purchased on
October 23rd. I can read. I just think it's important to have in the reports out loud what the details are.
Okay.
Are there other questions for staff with regard to the land sale at 1715 Oliver Avenue North? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 5, which is a land sale at 1715 Oliver Avenue North. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of this land sale as the staff recommendation.
Further comments or questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. On to item number 6.
Staff recommendation is sale to New Image Construction and Remodeling LLC, who met the requirements of the vacant housing recycling program. His intention is to rehabilitate the property and sell it for owner occupancy. We received comments from the Willard Hay neighborhood, and they support the staff recommendation of sale to New Image Construction and Remodeling LLC. This was the only offer that we received for this property. I'll take any questions at this time.
I didn't hear a word you said, so I'll assume everybody else did. Are there any questions for staff? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 6. Is that correct? Yes. At 2800 18th Avenue North. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy, since you were paying attention.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Happy to move item number 6 as the staff recommendation.
Further comments or questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. On to item number 7.
3014 Logan Avenue North. Staff recommendation is sale to Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity, Inc., who met the requirements of the vacant housing recycling program, and sale to Homes Minnesota LLC as the alternate purchaser if Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity, Inc. fails to close on the property. We did not receive comments from the Jordan neighborhood. The key reason why these 2 applications are recommended over the other 4 applications that we received is because their extent of their scope of work was much more significant than the other 4 applications we received. And they also had much stronger financing.
Okay. Questions for staff on item number 7? Seeing none, thank you for that report. We'll open up the public hearing on item number 7, which is a land sale at 3014 Logan Avenue North. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of item number 7.
Item number 7 has been moved. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll move on to our regulatory services public hearing, starting with item number 8. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have an application by Saito One LLC. They are a restaurant doing business as Sagaro at 5309 Lindell Avenue South. They have operated at this location with a wine and beer license since June of 2014. They would like to upgrade their license to a full on-sale liquor license. No other aspects of the business plan will be changed. They just want to upgrade to be able to provide a full variety of beverage alcohol items for their customers. A public hearing is required for this license upgrade. We sent notices to residents and property owners within 600 feet of this establishment, and we also notified the Tangletown Neighborhood Association, Diamond Lake Business Association, Nicollet East Harriet Neighborhood Association, and Councilmember Quincy. We have received no responses for or against this application. Staff believes they meet all of the requirements and recommending that you approve the application.
Are there any questions for Mr. Wilson on item number 8? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 8, which is a license upgrade for Sagaro. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of this item.
Item number 8 has been moved for approval. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone else?
Yeah, aye.
Aye, but I meant
We're all in.
I'm getting everyone sick. Any opposed? That item is approved. On to item number 9. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have an application by the Country Bar, Inc., doing business as the Country Bar. They're located at 3006 Lindale Avenue South, and they are seeking a permanent expansion of premises for a new sidewalk cafe and a rear patio expansion. They are also upgrading their license from a Class E on-sale liquor license to a Class B. That Class B upgrade allows for live musical entertainment. This expansion will allow an outdoor patio at the rear with seating for 10 customers and a sidewalk cafe on the front of the business by Lindale Avenue for an additional 8 seats. The public hearing is required for this application. We did notify all residents and property owners within 600 feet of the business. Notices were all sent to the Carrick Neighborhood Association, Lindale Lake Business Group, the Lake Street Council, and the Lowry Hill East Neighborhood Group. We received 5 responses from that mailing and notification process. 1 was in support. We received 4 responses that were in opposition to this application. The oppositions related to the patio. The rear patio was too close to nearby apartments that are occupied as residential dwellings. Others were fear of noise and music would keep them up at night, additional traffic, issues about behaviors of patrons, and patrons smoking on the rear patio. This business is located in a C3A neighborhood activity district. The use meets the requirements in that regard. In staff's review of this, we would be recommending approval of the application.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, so there were some fairly passionate objections to this with regard to residential apartments directly above where this alley patio would be suggested, in addition to all of the other activity, which I'm fully aware of being a Volstead's customer going on in that alley also. So our response is, well, too bad, you're at an intersection of Lynn Hill and Lake, so that's the way it is. Ms. Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In response to that, we had discussions between Councilmember Bender's office and our applicant, and he changed his business plans to promise some activity to monitor the patio better than he did in his original plan, including only one speaker back there, and it will be faced downward so the sound is not projecting out. He will also have signs to warn his patrons about the neighbors being so close that they should keep their voices down. He also promised that his staff would come out at least every half hour or more to check on the noise level out there. And he is also shutting off that speaker at 10 p.m. each night. And that was all negotiated into the business plan in hopes that that would keep the sound down. The landlord of the building, with most of the complaints that came through, was also involved in this conversation, and he was satisfied with the results of it.
So, Mr. Wilson, may I just ask Ms. Casey another question? Ms. Casey, is the landlord the owner of the restaurant space and the apartments?
Yes.
Okay, so it's his frickin' problem. If it's loud, then the residences are not, people aren't going to stay there. So he has a kind of a motivation to put a bar and restaurant in his first floor, but not as much motivation to be concerned about the residents who live above it.
Right.
It's all the same person.
Yep.
Oh, that is inaccurate.
That's what I was told.
What do we understand the situation to be in terms of the application? Is the owner of the restaurant space the same as the owner of the apartments above?
I believe so. That's what my understanding was.
We're going to have a public hearing, so you can speak.
So-
We would encourage it. I don't know. I lived above a bar for 20 years. I chose to do that. I knew it was a bar. This is a different situation, so I'm just wondering what the residents, how they would tolerate this in the back. So,
I do know that we have discussions going on with Volstead's right now, too, about the noise back there from their queue lines in hopes of trying to quiet some of that down also.
the queue lines, the smoking, the
Correct.
people who have drank too much, the mess, the dumpsters, and it's quite a show back there. Okay. Are there other questions for staff with regard to item number 9? Thank you very much. This is a public hearing on item number 9, which is a license upgrade and an expansion of premise. This is a public hearing, and the public hearing is open. Is there anyone here who would like to speak? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record. And anyone else who hasn't signed in who's here on this item is free to do so as well.
My name is Brian Jones. I own Latham Properties. I own the building directly to the south of the Country Bar. The reason why I said that the statement that Ms. Casey made was inaccurate was that I own the building. Mr. Smith owns the building directly to the north of us. We're basically two separate people. As far as I know, there are no full-time residents above the Country Bar. I have 8 full-time apartment units above the building that I own. With regards to this expansion, I've spoken with several of my residents. I know that people are moving due to noise from the alleyway there behind our building. I also recognize that it's a busy area. I recognize that there's a lot of bars and restaurants in the area, and that's part of the appeal of the Lynn Lake neighborhood. My one request and reason for coming to this meeting is with regards to amplified music. I understand that there's lines at Volstead's all the time. I understand you can't control people when they've had too much to drink or they get in a group together. The alleyway is very small. It echoes quite a bit. I have no problem with the patio that Mr. Smith has proposed. What I do have a problem with is music being played back there just to increase the volume. You get music going, people talk louder to be heard above the music. It's a chicken and the egg. It's louder and louder and louder. I'm prepared as a landlord to, deal with residents being unhappy. I'm very forthcoming with them. I let them know, hey, look, this is where you're choosing to live. It's going to be loud. It's not quiet. It's not private. There's a bar here. There's a bar there. However, I think that adding more noise to a back alley is not the way to go. A smoking patio is fine. I think, 10 people back there is fine. But then you add music to it, and that's the one objection I have to this proposal.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else here to speak to this issue, item number 9? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Anyone?
Good afternoon, Councilman and Committee Chair and staff. I'm Todd Smith, and I'm the owner of 3006 Lindale. I purchased the property. It was in great disrepair about a year and a half ago, and have worked for 9 months in developing it. I think there were some challenges with the property historically that I believe will be alleviated by my ownership and $800,000 investment. The area is zoned C3A. I can point to multiple places within 200 yards that have outdoor music and greater residential exposure than mine. The speaker is for ambient noise. I'm not ever going to have live music. The reason I did the upgrade to my license was to do DJs for brunch. I think within the tenants of Brian's building, Brian seems like a great guy, there's been some misunderstandings. My building is 2 stories. The second story is a residential unit, and there is a deck for that residential unit that's at approximately 20 feet in height. Brian's second story neighbor is probably at 25 feet of height. The only spot that would have patrons on it is at the ground level. So I think there was some misunderstanding as far as what I was building and what the utility for it was. The noise levels, as Councilperson Goodman already suggested, in large part stem from Volstead's. I would also say that there's a commercial tenant in 3008 Lindale that is open till 3 a.m. It's a sandwich shop that gets a lot of late night traffic and also has a lot of noise and also contributed to the garbage challenges. So from my standpoint, the noise ordinance should be sufficient that if I'm doing something wrong, I can be recognized as doing something wrong and cited and have to make an amendment to how I operate. But between the C3A designation, the standard that it's being applied in the whole neighborhood, why I should be unable to operate similarly seems unfair. The noise ordinance, I think, should be able to, if noise is emanating out to such a level that, we're doing decibel readings, I should be fined and have to alter the way I operate. But to assume that I'm going to operate in a manner that is going to harm the neighborhood, it just seems like putting the cart before the horse.
Why do you need to have music on the smoking patio till 10 o'clock?
I'm going to actually have tables back there. And I think just like any other environment, I'd like it to be nice and comfortable. I think having...
Well, we're not, there's no suggestion that you not have tables back there. I'm asking about the one music, the speaker that's going to be piping music out. Can people who come out to smoke, they have to have that music?
I hope people would also want to sit out there and maybe eat things or drink things. And it's to provide a level of hospitality that makes it a comfortable environment. And I think it's going to be an ambient level. That's what I'm saying I'm going to do. So until I don't understand why I should be restricted from such given the designation of the district. And I have the councilperson's recommendation.
Okay, thanks.
Sure, thank you.
Mr. Wilson, do you have any other comments on this?
Madam Chair, thank you. The rear patio is a very, very small area. It will only seat 10 people. We have the ability, or the City Council has the ability to restrict any ambient sound, any amplified sound, even ambient, in any outdoor liquor area. So we can not allow the amplified music at all, clearly by our code if you want to. I believe that this area is becoming more intense related to on-sale liquor and entertainment. I believe in the next City Council cycle we'll have a nearby new on-sale liquor restaurant that will have 3 outdoor patios and a rooftop right in this exact vicinity. So the area is becoming more lively in that regard, but I believe that our rapport with businesses and monitoring their business plans, I think we'll be able to keep everyone from not disturbing each other.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Councilmember Fry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll move approval of this item.
Item number 9 has been moved for approval. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll move on to item number 10.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next application is by the Muffin Top Cafe LLC, requesting to do business as a Nicollet Diner and Muffin Top Cafe at 1424 and 1428 Nicollet. They are seeking a brand new on-sale liquor license with Sunday sales and all-night special food license. They currently operate in this location, in the 1424 location, with a food restaurant with extended hours. They do not have beverage alcohol at this time. And this location has held several different food restaurants since the year 2000. They have operated with an extended hours license in this location without difficulty since June of 2014. This facility is requesting to be open 24 hours daily, except the beverage alcohol, of course, will not be sold other than between 8 a.m. and 1 a.m. in the morning. This is on the street level, and they are, again, combining the spaces of 1424 and 1428 Nicollet. They will have an approximate total of 4,200 square feet of space and will have seating for 168 patrons. Because this is an all-night business, we've negotiated some routine conditions with this applicant, and they have signed and agreed to the conditions, and they really relate to security issues and general management of a 24-hour business. A public hearing is required for this application. We notified all persons within, property owners and residents within 600 feet on April 7th. 582 notices were mailed. We also notified the Citizens for a Loring Park Community, the Downtown Minneapolis Neighborhood Association, Loring Park Business Association. We received 4 responses. We received one letter of support from the official neighborhood group, the Citizens for a Loring Park Community, and we received 3 notices that were opposed from nearby citizens. They were opposed, generally speaking, because of lack of, what they claim is lack of parking. They didn't want bad behaviors associated with alcohol on this block, and they're happy with the restaurant as it is without alcohol service. Our review of this application finds that it is a legal use in the zoning district. They've met all of our application requirements, and staff is recommending that you approve it.
Are there any questions for Mr. Wilson on item number 10? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 10, which is a license upgrade. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and move approval. This is located in my old neighborhood in the 7th Ward, and this has been an awesome addition to this corner. I think a really well-run business with a business owner who has been very active in the livability and crime and safety situation, and I think they've proven that they can operate this business successfully for a 24-hour period, which not a lot of people can do, and also if they want to serve, milkshakes with liquor in it, I don't think that that's a problem. So it seems like, and that's kind of what they're going to do. This isn't really going to be a bar, it's a diner. Maybe they'll serve a cocktail, but I think the main focus is to keep it being a diner with alcohol. I don't see any problem with it. On the motion to approve the staff recommendation, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. On to item number 11. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have an application by Pizzeria Lola Northeast LLC for a restaurant at 165 13th Avenue Northeast. Their trade name will be Young Yanni. They are seeking a on-sale liquor license with Sunday sales, Class E. The Class E does not allow live entertainment. This is a location of the former Sugar Record Store, which was there from 2010 to 2012. This restaurant will have seating for 120 persons, and there is